It's a beautiful morning. It just started to rain, and I'm going out to the lake. But I want to talk to you today about forgiveness. Yesterday, I had a client come in who is deeply, deeply depressed, and whose main complaint is all of the ways in her life that she has been wronged by her mother. And it would be very easy for other therapists to tell her that there comes a point in life where you give up all of the anger and you give up all of the hurt and you give up all of the constant focus on the ways that you were wronged by your parents. And that is what most people think, and that is how most people practice. It's a very existential point of view, taking personal responsibility for your feelings as an adult, no matter what happened to you in the past. But every time that has been tried before with her, she has had difficulty with that. And the truth is, we don't know how bad it was for her. There's no way to judge it, there's no way to compare it. All we know is that she suffers. So, there's a book by Tara Brach called Radical Acceptance, a wonderful book by a psychologist and a teacher of Buddhism. And in the book, she proposes that no matter how great our discomfort, we can learn to accept it. And once we learn to accept it, we learn to accept that it's there, we can begin to move on with the rest of our lives. We don't have to eradicate it. We just have to learn to accept it. This is a basic teaching of Buddhism and a basic teaching of mindfulness practice. I'd like to take it one step further and say that there is such a thing as radical forgiveness. It doesn't really matter how bad the problem was. It doesn't matter how much someone was hurt. There comes a point where if you're, let's say, the victim, not a word that I like using, but let's say that it's true. Let's say that you're the victim of somebody's problematic behavior. So you're injured in a way by it. There does come a point where you reduce your own suffering by forgiving the person. See, when you don't have forgiveness, you're the only one who's being punished by it. That other person isn't being punished by it. You're the only one who's carrying around that burden all the time. And so you have to learn to forgive, even when that person brings the behavior into the present moment. You have to learn to forgive. And if you have the chance, you have to forgive before that person is gone, because it's much harder to do once they're gone. So she asked me the question. She said, how do I start? She saw the sense in the idea. She saw how she was actually being injured, hurt by not forgiving, that it was punishing her more than it was punishing her mother. She said, but I'm faced with this all the time. How do I start? And I said, you start by saying it out loud. Not when your mother's around, but when your mother's not around. You listen to the authority of your own voice. The greatest authority that you know in your life is the sound of your own voice saying something. You listen to the authority of your own voice as you speak out loud. That happened, and I forgive her. My mother just made a comment I don't like, and I forgive her. My mother just made me feel badly, and I forgive her. My mother ignored me, and I forgive her. My mother just pretended this never happened, and I forgive her. She said, well, oh, that feels fake to me. That feels phony to me. I said, yes, fake it till you make it. It's phony because it's foreign to you now. But you can teach yourself how to do this. Every time you practice something, you're growing the nerves that carry out the behavior. I told her, leopards have spots, zebras have stripes, the sky is blue, the Pope is Catholic, and your mother does things to hurt you, and that's just been your reality. That's the way that you interpret it. Even when your father says, no, she's not trying to hurt you, your reality is that she's hurt you. Accept it. Practice forgiveness. It really is a practice. It's not just an idea. You have to do it. You have to say it for everything. And move on. This is Dr. Shipon with DrWhyNot.com. Wishing you freedom today. And God bless.